Hello, everybody. I want to cover the next topic, which is usually the one that most people are curious about, and usually the one that most people struggle with, which is lining. Lining tuning is sort of the, how would you say that, usually the biggest problem, especially for beginners, or the biggest thing that they usually doubt. Um, a lot of people ask me to send my machine out already tuned up for lining, which is something I can't really do because a lot of it is depending on the person. But as far as general tuning goes, for most people, a liner is a little bit faster. Usually they don't have a super long stroke. They're usually more medium to short. And how hard it's hitting is depending on, of course, the needle that you're using. For my machine, singles to 5 needles, I usually use the smallest magnet. From 7s to around 13, I'll use the medium magnet. And 13s and up, I usually use the largest magnet. For the smaller needles, also, I'll use a shorter stroke. And anything bigger than a 5, I'll usually go up to about a medium stroke. Um, there is an issue if you're trying to run a small magnet really fast with a really long stroke. There'll become a point where the needle bar will actually stop tapping the frame. And that's because before it has time to hit, the motor will flip directions and want to go back up. And it ends up just sort of fluttering there. It's not really a common issue, but it does happen. So if that does happen to you, all you have to do is slow it down a little bit to give it time to tap, or to end or shorten the stroke. Either or will work, and that'll let it keep it tapping. That's usually only an issue with the smaller magnets. So with the larger magnets, it's usually not an issue. And if it's happening with the large magnet, you're usually running really, really fast, and it's more than necessary. I would say usually lining voltages, I'm around 9, maybe 8.5 to 9.5, depending on what I'm doing and where I'm at. But and I also recommend that you start slow and soft and work your way up. So let's say you start around 8.5 volts, and test the waters, test the skin, and see how it's taking it. And if you find your hand speed is a little bit too fast and you have to go back over the line, maybe go up a little bit higher with the voltage. Same thing with the stroke. You're better off starting off with a little bit of a shorter stroke and then opening it up along the way as you're feeling comfortable until you find the spot that you like for that customer. Of course, everyone's going to be different in every situation. But once you get the feel of it and you start to learn and know the machine, it'll become sort of an instinct. You'll change the stroke on the fly without even thinking about it. Sometimes I'll even change it mid-tattoo. Let's say if I'm in a little crease somewhere or going across a bone, I might shorten the stroke up real quick and slow down just to be careful there. And then once I get past there, I'll open the stroke up and I'll speed up a little bit just to keep going. Another thing is that I've kind of been experimenting, well, not really experimenting, but something I found out recently that I really liked was I was doing some tattoos like on those notorious spots here on the sides of the fingers and no palms yet, but mostly on the side. And I used the medium magnet. I was using I think it was like a 5 liner, and I was using the medium magnet, which is usually kind of big for that needle. I set the stroke pretty long and I slowed the machine down a lot. And I was able to sit there and slowly just pop that line in. And it worked out really good, actually. A lot of times if you're working on these difficult areas, trying to line, you usually have to turn the machine up really high to get enough force to get through that thick skin to get the needle in there. And by doing that, you would speed up the machine a lot normally. So that makes it kind of a little bit harder to control, a little bit more unpredictable, and it causes a little bit more trauma. So it worked out really good. Slow the machine down, a really kind of a bigger needle, a bigger magnet, and I was using the smaller needle and the long stroke, and it worked out really good. It was healed really fast. The detail was really clean. Yeah, those palms are really difficult to line, so yeah. Have fun, huh?